Good day to you all. How you doing, everyone? Welcome again to our podcast, another kwento galing sa mga apo ni Lola Bashang. Unfortunately, this will be the last episode for this season. And hopefully, you'll enjoy this one. Kasama ko ngayon mga iba pang apo ni Lola Bashang na si Carlos at si Jianni. How you doing today, guys? Feeling great? What are your thoughts so far from the previous episodes?
Well, the previous episodes have been great. We're pointing out and discussing critical things about social issues, ha? Like, kakaiba talaga basta mga kwento ng mga apo ni Lola Bashang.
Of course, oo nga eh. But it's nice that we also get to share what we know so the listeners could also learn, di ba?
So, in today's episode, I would like to share to you all how amazing and at the same time, it was hard for women back then to fight for equal rights, like what us men always had, even though there should be inequality between us. Like, and as we all know that the feminist movement started when women fought for suffrage or the right to vote that started in the West. And because of this, the spotlight was kind of mainly on them. So, but this also sparked or inspired women from all over the world to start fighting for their rights as well. So in today's episode will be about the feminist movement but in a multicultural aspect, or we call it as a multicultural feminism. I mean, gender has always been intertwined with the social status of people from various locations, like how white women and men oppress women, and men but in different status they think is below theirs. For example, a white woman discriminate against a black woman because of her skin colors, and there you go, racism.
Yes, and I can agree on that. No? And I also believe that the oppression people face is connected with their gender and to their statuses of people.
So, yung their social standpoint, opinions, or their view in politics are mainly affected by the environment or the culture they have been influenced by. Uh, Even though the fight for equal rights has not yet stopped until now, I mean, we should also take note that it is not mainly focused on the women of the West, but every woman in the world.
Yeah, oo nga, no? Like, hindi lang based sa gender yung oppression na na-experience ng ibang tao. And like, pati rin pala sa kanilang social status or ethnicity. I think this shows how intersectional our problems are. I mean, it's never really just from one stem talaga, ano.
Well, there are really some people who feel that they are more superior than others. Eh. Alam mo naman, they look down on them as if they are not humans, which is kind of sad, no?
Well, ain't that the truth? I mean, we could also take note that yung the women of South Africa, I mean, the culture there is highly influenced by a patriarchal concept kasi and the fight for equal rights is still ongoing up until now. I mean, kahit na marami ng mga batas na naipasa to ease the oppression during sa mga protests ng mga women in South Africa against an apartheid system type of government. Pero wala eh. Wala pa rin eh. Women, they still experience oppression in their own homes din, no? I mean, probably because they are very cultural, traditional people. Pero the world is changing and they should be changing too. I honestly do not think there's harm in changing what they are used to, especially if it burdens the community. And and get this. Although great strides have been made, gender discrimination still takes place in the workplace. And while there are notable exceptions, women are yet poorly represented in top managerial and executive posts countrywide. Study shows nga now women in South Africa are deprived from economic rights, no? Like yung rights to life, dignity, or kahit nga sa privacy nila talagang na-violate na eh. Disappointing lang, no, na when leaders don't lead, when they put themselves into this job of service. Pero, I mean, they just don't serve the people.
And gusto ko rin idagdag na ano, I recently known that these women in South Africa are afraid to speak up about their struggles in the workplace. It's like they're scared or they don't have the confidence to speak up.
Yun nga eh, like, nakakainis. I mean, it's always about the patriarchy. Like, that's always the root cause. And I don't want to hear about that patriarchal concept, Chuchu. Nakakainis. I mean, men are trash talaga. As if they always make sense. I think they always think that they're superior. This it just goes to show how men can be misogynistic and trash, like really trash. Parang alam mo yun, hindi maka-keep up sa modern times.
And, oo nga pala, for listeners pala, Mark, baka magtaka sila, ano yung apartheid sa South Africa? I mean, could you share some knowledge about it? I mean, pati ako, bago ako dyan eh.
Yung apartheid system in South Africa, ito, it started in South Africa, well, in 1948, when the National Party took over as their government and, sa mga panahon na yun, during those times na yun, na nagawa ng mga batas or policies that included racial segregation among the people, especially between the white South Africans and the non-white. I mean, because of the colonization of the Great Britain to the South Africa, white South Africans existed. I mean, this lasted for 50 years, no, sa South Africa. But thanks to Nelson Mandela, who most of us know, contributed to constructing a new constitution in the country. Pero still, grabe, 2021 na, no, oppression still exists. Pero there will be more if you don't start doing about it.
Oo, yeah, totoo. Grabe yung oppression sa mga babae doon. Like, they are treated as an object of pleasure for men. Yeah, I mean, sexual abuses are super rampant doon. Like, I think, as far as I know, doon din inspired yung hashtag men are trash trend, di ba?
Yeah, you're right about that, Jianni. Like, yes, a lot of women are being killed in South Africa. And kahit yung mga lalaki doon, yung mga men who are nice naman in South Africa, are pressured to act like they are superior to women so they could just fit in their society. Di ba, ano nga sila, parang napaka-traditional, they stick to their culture na napaka-patriarchal. Yung mga men ng babae, they are scared because as what Gianni mentioned in their episode, men are typically viewed to be basically strong.
So basically, even men were oppressed during those times. Pero hindi pa rin yun matutumbasan yung mga paghihirap ng mga women ng mga panahon din na yun, no? Kasi after all, the world has been heavily influenced by men in the patriarchal society.
Pero di naman natin ignore. I mean, we are not ignoring naman the struggle of men. It's just that the presence of their struggle does not erase or justify the struggle of others. In this case, women. I mean, it's like also in America where feminism started, diba? I mean, even though the right to vote was given to women na, a white woman would still look down on black women as well. And if you would think about it, it is ironic on how we would leave out the blacks because of their skin color. Like, diba, ito nga diba dapat yung purpose ng feminist movement? Like, it opposes the feminist movement that women want to achieve equality, diba? But because of the white supremacy, the movement still lives on.
Ay, ano ba yan? Eto nga, like I said kanina na parang hindi maka-keep up sa mga, hindi maka-keep up sa changes etong mga to. Parang it's been so long and white supremacy still exists. I mean, racism exists pa rin hanggang ngayon, no? Kaya nabuo yung Black Lives Matter movement eh. And ayun, the blacks are getting abused still because of their color, which is very wrong. And what's even more wrong is those abuses started again from the police brutalities.
True. Like, why can't people be better? I mean, we are still human. Women or men, black or white, rich or poor, we are still the same human that both deserve to be treated equally.
I mean, yeah, it's really sad to say, but the real world is a cruel one. Hindi ko talaga magets kung bakit yung mga ganun tao, like, ano meron kung magkaiba tayo ng kulay, di ba? It really doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, these types of experiences or oppression that women from all types of culture, ethnicity, social status, are similar to what the matrix of domination tells us.
Taray, anong matrix of domination sinasabi mo dyan? That sounds so smart. Baka naman mema lang yan, Mark, ha?
Ay, nako, Jianni. Huwag mo ako inaano dyan. Ito kasing, yung matrix of domination. It's from Patricia Collins, who is an author of the Black Feminist Thought na libro. So, it's basically a system or domains of interrelated powers in society and how these powers shape human actions. It explains how gender, social statuses, ethnicity, skin colors are connected to the oppressions of issues it brings. I mean, this concept is still applicable today, like what I said earlier with how the blacks are being treated in America. Wait, do I even make sense ba? I mean, do you guys get the point naman, di ba?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah. I mean, it's like even though reforms are made to push for equality, I mean, there is still an inequality through the discrimination of their social statuses, gender, ethnicity, skin color, may it be black, white, or even us Asians can be discriminated based on our race.
Ganito yun eh, parang it can go something like this. When people of color are alienated or oppressed, the people who we call as white from the white supremacy are in the center of it. And another instance of this is that what if homosexuals are oppressed or are alienated? Who do you think is at the center of this oppression?
Mm, Let me guess. The heterosexuals?
Yeah, you're right about that, Carlos. It's the heterosexuals. So another instance is what about sexism? Who is responsible or in the center of it? Johnny, would you like to take a guess?
You know what? I'm just gonna say it's males.
Wow, you're so right about that. The Matrix explains to us what's been causing the oppression for different groups of people, despite their social status, race, ethnicity, their color, gender, or sexual orientation.
Okay. So, I'm not sure, pero, paano naman yung classism between women? Is it like, women of the rich alienates women of the poor? I mean, I don't know. Is that how it works?
Galing mo naman, Jianni. Yes, women and men of riches are in the center in that kind of oppression. So, I'll ask you guys. So, what do you guys think we should do to help avoid or stop these kinds of discrimination? I mean, honestly, protests and movement are still ongoing up to this day, di ba? Pero sa tingin nyo, sapat na ba yun? It is enough ba?
Mm, I mean, we could also join and support protesters of women fighting for their right of equality. Up until now, I mean, even though just staying here in the Philippines, we could start by educating the public, the essence of the feminist movement in the aspect of different races.
Discrimination also exists here in the Philippines kasi, like, in the workplace, women have less chances of getting promotions or salary raises. I mean, even though we already had two female presidents. Like, okay, please listen to my podcast, friends, please. I talk about that endlessly. And yes, that's a shameless plug. Okay, anyway, let's continue.
Yes, and men really do be trashed now if you will think about it. I mean, they continue to oppress women through sexual abuse and assault. Men still look at women as a necessity for pleasure, something like that.
See guys, even in these modern times, kahit nga sa ngayon, there is still oppression and that is why the feminist movement is still there. And the ones in the center of the matrix of domination change over time. Because we will never know what will happen to us in the next years for us, diba? The life is changing, the world is changing. And before I end our time today, I just want to remind everyone that despite our differences from our social statuses, race, ethnicity, skin color, gender, or sexual orientation, we all deserve to be treated equally. I mean, let us help the movement that has so long existed because there will always be perpetrators of oppression. Let us try our best to remove them altogether. That aims to seek dominance over us for personal interest. Like I mean, we all must help women end those struggling with their oppression to be safe, as everyone should be treated.
Yes, and the steps that all the women took and the hardships they continue to face just to have equal rights as men shouldn't even happen in the first place. But then again, since we live in a slightly cruel world where patriarchy still exists in the smallest of things, steps like these are being taken out of necessity. And this should be addressed until women are actually listened to and not just heard. And after all, women and men are just the same human, and there shouldn't be a superior sex. We all must and need to be equal.
Okay, that was such a good ending, Carlos. So, anyway, I think that is all for this episode, and we would like to thank everyone who enjoyed listening to our podcast. And I don't know, hopefully we inspired you all to know what is happening in this cruel world we have. Okay, Char, that was so serious. Pero, ayun, to be honest, this world could be a better place if, change starts within ourselves.
Yes,
We can a
and
lot
yes.
more.
Mm. And yun nga. Thank you everyone. Thank you again for listening to sa episodes ng podcast namin, no. And yun. Thank you guys so much.
Till next time, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
guys.
Goodbye.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.